has happened repeatedly. These technologies we call GPT, general purpose technologies, which means something like the steam engine, which was the great invention of 250 years ago, created the factory world, and not just in one sector, but across the economy. And it created the railroad and many other things. Electrification was a general purpose technology. AI is a general purpose technology, an extraordinarily powerful one in my view. I don't believe it's hyped. I think it's amazing and real. But what you find with general purpose technologies is that generally they raise overall output in the economy, but dramatically redistribute the output as well. In the first industrial revolution with the steam engine, there were vast numbers of losers. The economy started to boom, especially in Britain, which was the first industrialized nation. But those masses in the satanic mills, these were women and children who used to have jobs in rural areas, for instance, spinning yarns. All of that went away with mechanization. They ended up as degraded workers, and it was exactly that, what we call immiserization, becoming more miserable, that led Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels to issue the Communist Manifesto in the late 1840s. So that was real. Then over time, new institutions were developed to share the increase of output. Actually, Bismarck in the new German state in the 1870s and 1880s invented public pensions as a way to ensure that this booming economy would help more and more people. Well, this has been a repeated phenomenon. Big technological advance, the overall size of the economy increases, but the way that the pie is divided, in the proverbial expression, changes dramatically. And we're going to have that with AI as well. And the American political system for at least 50 years has been, don't help anyone. We're on our own. Good luck to you. And in an AI era, that would prove devastating. Now, Trump appealed to those who are suffering, both in 2016 and 2024, on a clever political messaging that was fundamentally false. He said, China took your jobs. He said, the migrants took your jobs. He didn't say technology has changed how we live and redistributed the national income. That is the right answer. There are no jobs coming back from China. By the way, I go to Chinese factories all the time. They don't have workers in them anymore because they're all automated. There aren't jobs coming back from China. What we have is a technological revolution, basically positive, actually, in that we can do more. We can be more clever. We can have more sophisticated drug discovery or better healthcare diagnostics or many other things. But it's not going to fall equally. It's going to immiserize part of our society unless we actually decide for the first time in more than half a century to act like a society rather than to act like a group of individuals out in brutal competition with each other. But we don't even have that kind of understanding in our political discourse right now. But the AI is moving forward relentlessly with or without it. And by the way, the number of meetings every day in every sector talking about loss of jobs, reshuffling of the workforce, this is happening everywhere right now. And we don't have any public policy framework, and we won't under Trump. This is something way beyond him.
I think we do have a public policy framework under Trump, rather than going in the direction of making sure that people will not be immiserated. What they've done is, you mentioned earlier, the to dramatically increase. He's already increased the defense budget dramatically, but he wants to up it even further. And then we've also seen this tremendous increase in the domestic law enforcement budget and an emphasis on mass surveillance, et cetera. So it seems like the direction they want to go in is a sort of crackdown, authoritarian crackdown, to make sure that people,
correct.
if they're unhappy, are not going to have the ability or will be too afraid to get out of line. But I wanted to ask you.
That's exactly right. But I would just add one more point to that, which is that specifically the surveillance state and specifically the war economy are big business precisely for the AI industry. So it's not only incidental that they want to crack down. These are gold mines for them. More war, phenomenal. Look at the biggest booming stock market in the world right now is Israel, because it's basically a war machine. It's basically a surveillance, intelligence, and military machine. So war is good for the not for the people,
stock market,
but for the stock market.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you see the introduction of AI, as you mentioned before? We've had general purpose technologies introduced before. They over time, once you had a transition, they benefited, I think, the population overall, although there are some that may dispute that. But the difference may be twofold. Number one, how quickly AI has been developed and is being disseminated. And number two, previous general purpose technologies were meant to replace, like, the horse, for example. This is explicitly meant to replace human beings, and the developers of it will tell you that and tell you things like, we intend to make all of human labor irrelevant, human beings effectively irrelevant to productivity growth and economic output, et cetera. So do you see it as a more grave threat to the the prosperity and happiness of mankind than previous general purpose technologies?
Well, it's happening so much faster than anything else. And we have metrics which we call adoption rates. How long does it take a certain number of users to use the technology? And we've never seen anything like what we have right now. ChatGPT is announced, and within weeks, it's hundreds of millions of users worldwide. So we're seeing something that is happening completely at an unprecedented scale. And I think that will continue. In terms of what it means for human well-being, there are two issues. One issue is the distributional issue that we say gainers economically could compensate those who lose because the overall pie grows. Elon Musk, he doesn't really need $1 trillion of personal net worth or whatever, 600 or 700 billion. I didn't check this morning. He doesn't need that. So if we actually distributed well-being in our country, we could have a broader gain. Then there's the meaning of life and the meaning of work question, which is that these technologies in a fair society would mean less work. The robots can do physical labor, and the AI can do cognitive work of various kinds. Is that a good thing? In principle, again, if it's done thoughtfully, it could very well be a good thing because we would have more time for friends, for family, for leisure, for culture, for exploration, for other things, if the drudge work is actually carried out mechanically. So per se, earlier technologies, it's not true that they've always created new jobs to replace the old jobs. We actually work less hours per day on average than 100 years ago, by far, as a matter of fact. The numbers are quite astounding. The average work time of an adult American is about 3 hours, 20 minutes at this point, something like that. That's for an economy of a $30 trillion output. Now, that counts weekend time, that counts retirement time, that counts time in school, that counts vacation time, leisure time, and so on. But the point is, we don't work like our grandparents and great-grandparents did. They worked not only at physical labor, but they worked round the clock, maybe 6 days a week. And this is a big change. And on the whole, I believe it's a plus. But American society, as we've been discussing, is quite distinctive. It's barely a society. Our political system is so corrupted, it's not regarded as a society. It's regarded as a group of particular interests, of which Silicon Valley itself is interest group number one. It's more powerful than every other interest group, partly because the generals are desperate for this technology. The military, the government has put its hands into Palantir. Palantir is more important than the rest of our government. They're watching everything we do. They're building the surveillance state. So in this sense, we have a political and ethical problem that's quite fundamental in this country. And again, with this current gang, these are gangsters. They're not in any way, shape, or form even remotely aware or interested in these questions.
Wow. Very insightful as always, sir.
Yeah, went in a different direction this segment than I expected, but a really fascinating discussion, Professor. Thank you so much for your time and your analysis as always.
Thank you,
Great.
sir.
Good. See you soon.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And